grown bigger. I think it's your money in your wallet.
Oh,
Is my son Rome? Is he so?
No, he's not growing. I
You know,
said
Does she haven't changed, eh?
long time.
Bus pass that's keeping you this way. You remember that?
You remember the auntie?
That's the auntie that hit me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, come through, come through.
Can I close the door here?
Yeah, close it. Sorry, 1 sec. I'll be just going to take this phone. I'll be on a sec.
Bad security.
That there was a night going out.
So
So.
that was my mate and my driver. He afterwards to go out. How you say?
No, we should going. So we going.
Can I offer you some coffee?
That will be nice.
Let's do that. Have a seat, guys. Have a seat.
I'll do it, yeah.
Remember my office?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
I'll do this.
Just, Franny, if you make coffee for these things, you must make sure that you room this thing properly because this thing makes lumps. And the last thing you want to do is have lumps on this meeting. Have a seat, guys. Yeah, so this one, the bottle one. Because at the top there's some, yeah. And so that when I look at the stage of getting more, it's all there. My son's grown up and my other son's probably grown up. My wife and I now reached the stage where we can actually and I decided then, with my friend and my brother, I actually went through a very bad stage of trying to pick up where I was and what I was doing and stuff like that. And then you guys came and made an offer to me with a transport. And it fitted in very nicely with my state of mind at that stage. So it worked well. We had a very good run for a long time. And then we came here, and we came here, and we came here the next week. 2015. 2015. So Chris came along, we had a big negotiation with Ellen, and they were putting a tender together, and then they didn't want to, then I went out to Durban and spoke to the Durban, and they said, well, we said, what's going on? The tender wasn't coming, remember? And then they said, no, they didn't want to get involved in it because we had a tacit agreement. And then we sat down. When you came and spoke to them, we said, okay, let's squeeze out this. That's how it is goodbye. Can you believe it? A lot has changed, eh?
But I see you got younger. What's your secret?
That's thinner. If you get thinner, you look younger.
Is that it?
You get thinner. In all the wrong places. Like, look at this, like you still got muscle. You still got muscle. You get up. You become like a little bird. So, let me just, Friday, are you sorted yet?
Yeah, don't worry, man.
You got everything?
Yeah.
So my son, you met my son 3 years ago.
Yeah, yes.
Okay guys, let's start off with a handshake like we left off last time. You said, okay, come and meet these guys. These guys are going to make a difference to your life. This is like one of the richest folks in the world. You know, Chris, remember Chris? Yes. So she has a girl.
Oh, well.
What's the secret?
Anyway, there we go. What's happening?
You might come in the mouth. Just outline the challenges we've got.
I'm going.
I forget.
Yeah, all that milk, eh?
No milk in mine.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, so go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is not getting easier as we go.
Yeah.
A lot of competition, a lot of new things coming up. So and the COVID. We had to pay our people, you know, the unions, our drivers.
I was thinking about sitting here, I was actually sympathizing with you during COVID. But you know what, it's not an easy thing to keep on going, eh?
Yeah, for sure. So, the bank on their portion, the workers on theirs, and you must try and make it work.
Yeah, so everybody just about you, man.
For sure.
They just like, go ahead.
And we've got a number of trucks on the lease, so if you pay it, you can't just hang up your boots and walk away because you'll actually end up with huge debt. So you sort of have to carry on.
It's an army coming behind you and you standing there.
Yeah, you were actually clever, I think, getting the owner driver. That's the back.
But you know what, that was a risk of mine. You know, I started this in 1992, and that whole period of my life, I was in a situation that if Dunlop ripped me out, I'd go insolvent within a week because of all the leases that I had. You get all those overheads, and Dunlop don't give a damn because they just see that and then they cut you off, and then you've got the leases, and then you're in trouble.
Sure.
So that's where I was.
So
Yeah.
you've actually got no choice as to just continue because you can't stop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how it is in my plans. One of the plans was when we talked to you, then we continue for a little bit of time. Then
So let's go. So in the beginning, it was 50%.
no,
It was 50%. I had 50, you guys had 50. Then we dropped it to 30. The last time we negotiated. To 20.
We started at 20.
No, this last agreement that we had was at 20%. That's where we are now.
Yes.
Previously, when we started off, it was 50.
sure, I can't even.
It was 50%.
So
Because-
far back.
The whole idea was that you guys put your stuff on my truck, on their truck, your truck, so you drive it up. So I had 50%. So we
Yeah.
went from 50 to 30. Okay.
So it's, yeah, it's like an evolving arrangement as we can afford it. Everybody can.
As we can all afford it. eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand, I feel.
So obviously with, well, you remember I think the first telltale signs was the economy was just going backwards with Jacob Zuma.
Yeah, no, that was terrible.
And all of us just went backwards. Then the COVID strike, we tried to make it work. I think we closed our doors for a month or so.
Month and a half.
Yeah.
Dead still.
You remember that, eh?
And I started off with the certificates being issued, and then we started
What's it to do? Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah,
official
yeah.
services.
Can I just check your blood pressure? Because I'm worried about this guy. The last time I saw him, he had serious blood pressure. My daughter's a doctor. She came here just now. Okay, she's got all
I'm
the
healthy.
equipment. She's got all the equipment.
My resting beat is 45 beats per minute, eh?
You
45.
technically did.
Okay. Oh, what is that? I don't know. Is that good? 45.
Pretty good, eh?
That's close to upward.
Yes.
No, not close.
At 44, it's like it's dead.
It should be 44 beats before you pull 9 Gs and not pass out.
No,
Anyway.
you're still fine.
Okay, so we went through that. Somehow, we salvaged it. We continued.
Oh, well done.
And obviously the next step was developing another tender
Yeah.
because of various reasons. I think, look, in 20 years they were never out on tender.
I
So,
wondered what that was about, that little tender thing. But well done for pulling that one through.
sure. We didn't know. They didn't share the secret with us. We didn't know we were running. We thought we were going to lose it.
But the secret was that they needed us.
So we tendered and we did for other areas as well to try and again get economy of scale.
Is Mach still there?
No,
He's gone.
He's gone.
Who's doing Mach?
We do.
If ever you've done one thing in your life, you did well there. How did you get him out of there?
No, we just tendered very
Open
keenly.
tender from head office.
Yeah.
So they cleaned out, like Ramaphosa cleaning out, yeah?
So we had to put in very keen prices because we didn't know we were going to get it. We thought we were up against all the people and businesses so tough, so everybody's going to probably tender keen, and there's a lot of people knocking on the door over the years. So we tendered keenly, and then they started negotiating with us, bringing the prices a little bit down, adding requirements like we had to now work on the IT solution. They don't.
That's a good idea though. That's what we were trying to do back in the day.
Yes.
To scan straight away, and that's clever.
EPOD.
Save your losses on your theft and your everything's new.
Visibility.
And you can always, but Mach's not there to steal the stuff, so it doesn't matter.
So obviously we had to accommodate the soft resolution. Look, for years we know we had to go that way, but we investigated SAP, all the IT systems, but it is tremendously expensive. Probably only the national companies can afford it. So we were never able to implement it. It's just too expensive. Then we started looking at something tailor-made. Maybe people we know that will do a sort of a software development.
Fleet thing.
Yeah, we just started off with it. Joe, our internal auditor, knowing somebody that's doing it for BMW, South Africa, and so on. We just started off with it, then a tender, then we put it on hold. Eventually we realized, listen, we had to get something that can communicate with our clients, whatever they use. So eventually we went to the WinFreight system, but now that's extremely expensive.
WinFreight.
WinFreight, yeah.
Okay.
So that can, liaise with SAP, which Islandor was using and so on. But that also comes with a great cost, because they want to move eventually to the system like Takealot, where you go to the printer, but when you deliver all the courier companies, people sign for it, and they know real time where you are and what's delivered and what's en route and so on. That's where all the big brands want to go, and Dunlop is on the forefront of this. So eventually in the pricing and the whole exercise, they sort of forced us to, and once you're keen to get the tender, you're already price keen, and they say this is their requirement, you've got sort of no option to say, okay, we'll try and accommodate it, and eventually we pulled it through, but obviously it's got a financial toll on all of us. So that brought us to the point where we say, listen, with the bad economy, with COVID, with this requirement, yes, at least we've got to work, but things will have to change. We'll have to do a rethink of how do we move forward to try and stay relevant and alive. Then myself and Chris said, listen, we had a tentative arrangement over the years with you. We don't just one day want to say to you, listen, sorry, we tendered, we've got it now, and sorry and goodbye. That's not how we've dealt with each other over the years. So necessitates a letter of to say, this is the circumstances, this is where we are. We need to make a change, taking us to the 10.5%, but at least it's still flowing. But also, at some point, we need to stop this. You can't continue forever and a day. We try to accommodate you as far as possible. Now, just to give you an indication, talk is cheap, but please believe me, we've never lied to you.
Robin, I want to tell you one thing, that we've had a very honest relationship. Chris and I have an extremely honest relationship for all of these years.
I've never defaulted on one of them.
Well, no, absolutely.
Maybe a day.
Yeah, but understandable.
Yes.
We hardly communicate because it runs smoothly, and it's through absolute word of mouth and honesty. I mean, we had an agreement, we've kept to that agreement.
Yeah.
All these years.
So over the last 4 years, myself and Chris, we shared 100,000 rand per year.
From mine?
No, on profit.
Oh,
This is what we
but
got.
that's the stuff that you made for me.
So,
sorry, that was my money. I'm glad I shared it with you guys.
so 100 grand in profit. We're running 60 vehicles. You're earning 1.2 million.
Am I only 1.2?
Yeah.
Am I 1.2? So if that's 20%, what is it? 30%? 1.2 is? That's a third. So you're earning 2.6 of my money.
No.
Because it was 50%, and now it's 20%. So 30% of my money would be okay. Just calculation.
So, Andre, the short and the sweet is, we're not making profit. You're doing a lot better than we do. But we have a tentative arrangement, so we have to revise it. So that's what we say. We're on 10.5 and
10.5 what?
percent.
It was at 20,
It
yeah?
was at 20.
So you want to move it down to 10.5?
Yeah.
So you want to reduce me down to another 50% of what I'm getting now. How does it affect me?
So yeah, probably the same.
I'm as you know, I mean, I'm like at the age now where this is my money, and you take 50% of my revenue away. But life has its things. I'm not negotiating today. I just want to hear the story, and then I've got to sit and think it through and understand it. And I know where you guys are from, and what we just got to realize is we've got to say, what did we have before? What did we agree on? And where we're going to now. That's what we got to establish. So I'll hear you out, I'll listen to everything,
Yes.
and I'm sympathetic towards your cause. and whatever where we can, we'll try and see how it can be done. Because I've also got this is my wife. My wife been with me. I started this thing when we were 30. She was 30. I've been doing it, and I've had all the troubles that you guys have had with all the issues. And I know it because I lived in a cage with you for 20 years. You were.
I think for us being here today, and my track record dealing with you,
Yes.
it speaks by itself.
Exactly.
So it's not just talk is cheap.
Exactly.
I think the fact that you invited us to have a meeting with you today and sit around the table and we can look each other in the eye,
Yeah.
and the fact that we don't have lawyers present to deal for us because it's just a waste of money.
Waste of money and energy.
Okay? And we have the commitment between each other that we can allow Isak just to share with you what we have on the table, and then we move with a positive outcome.
I think that's the way forward. And
Yes.
you know, look, I think what you're asking for is like seriously for put me in shit. It was like I'm like Ukraine. Or like Putin at the moment, he's back to the wall. I have nothing to, I might as well lose everything. You might as well take everything because I'll collapse at that rate. I mean, I've got insurance policies that mature when I die. Okay? So my wife gets money when I die. So between now and I die, I've got a big insurance policy that I pay every month. So this little gap from here until the end. And my father only lived to 72. My grandfather died when he was much younger. So I'm at like the extreme stages of my family's history of staying around. So I've got a couple of years. Theoretically, I've got a couple of years left, and then I'm like, you can't hang around at 80.
Yeah, well, I did.
And the last thing you want to do is lose all your money at that age. When you've had, okay, so the agreement that we had, what was meant by evergreen? Do you remember you brought up that concept, evergreen?
I think give Isak just a chance to,
Yeah,
to
okay.
explain.
Yeah.
Because we had a meeting and we decided that Isak put we put the idea forward.
Mhm.
I mean, Isak is the bigger shareholder in the business, so I'm here out of good faith. Okay,
Yeah.
so give him a chance just to explain what he's got in the cards.
You're right.
And then, but we can't. We're talking in.
No, we absolutely
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm too old to fight.
Okay.
Okay, so the principle is to try and find some middle ground. I know it must be a shock, and I know you
It's a
probably,
big shot. My
you
wife's
know,
in a state.
whatever you get used to, you live according to it. That's how it is. It's just a fact of life. But on the other hand, over the years, we actually went backwards, but we didn't come and complain with you because we tried to honor the basic agreement that's at the
And
stage.
just to add, it's not mismanagement. We've tried our very
Chris,
best.
You run a good show. I see you.
It
I
looks like
drive,
a
I
shop.
drive and I see those trucks. They look super. They're brilliant condition. They look like brand new trucks. They look, I say, I could never have put those trucks in that condition because that's an art on its own.
So, look, I think we actually victims of our own strategy because we try to get economy of scale the whole time to make it more profitable.
Yeah,
But eventually, ending up with this monster.
and bigger controls.
Yeah, so you need to now move back. You can't get bigger and bigger and bigger because it's not solving the problem. The challenge is just getting bigger. So we got back to the situation where we said, let's look at what is there to share for all of us and participate. We don't want to say to you one day, sorry, I'm going.
There's nothing left.
There's nothing left. So we're trying to and control it and not leave you high and dry and at least take it to some stage where you can probably survive on a pension or whatever you've planned moving forward.
We're in White River at what's the
Yeah.
White River just next to the cemetery, so it's not far to go from there.
But remember that on the class, she's still waiting for you.
The granddaughter still wants to move me. But did you hear the story, folks? I must tell you, my son was too young. When I was a little lady, I went to Badplaas. I don't know if you know where Badplaas is. Badplaas is a warm bath from Ermelo. You go down there, there's hot springs. And we were in standard 6. I was a little English-speaking Afrikaner that went with Kleinboot and Lut and everybody. We got into a bus and we drove down. And on the way there, we stole Coca-Colas from the cafe. Not the cafe, not me, my friend Kleinboot stole some stuff. Coca-Cola, there wasn't plastic in that. I think it was a liter Coke. And these oaks put brandewijn in that coke. And then we drove all the way down. We went down to the Wombas. And the Wombas in that day was like a cement pool, big cement pool. But all the tonnies used to come there and the oaks used to come right there for the day. So we made the Christmas drum going through through the swimming pool, like 30, 40 people. And I was holding this big fat toddy like this. And Clement was behind me, naughty little one. And he leaned forward and grabbed this old fat toddy like this. She turned around, she clapped me. She said, "Sis, your butt, pa!" And still today, that woman thinks it was me that did it.
Yeah.
Now he knows the family. Because he's got a farm in Butlas.
So last resort is the caravan and Butlas. And the auntie store.
As long as you give me a room with a view. and maybe the same pond with nicer looking girls than that woman there.
Yeah.
Solar, I don't want anything.
Okay.
So Andre, as we sit here, we actually can't afford actually paying anything more. And it sounds cheap, but that's how it is. But we said, listen, let's go the extra mile. We've got now the work that Mark was doing. Hopefully that will
You want me to come and drive the trucks now?
We've got a few
I can do it.
Yes, the truck drivers. You can be glad you're out of that business. We're sitting now with 4-5 arrests to be Hamilton this week for people
Stealing.
stealing.
That is my job, and if I can help you, I'll cut that down for you.
No, I'm also expert investigating.
You can come and work for me.
I'll give you a few things to do.
Yeah, and with dealing with the police is not helpful.
No, I can understand.
But anyway.
So, yeah.
So we back at the exercise, we said, listen, we now at 10.5, we can't do anything about it, that's how it is. And then further, let's see how do we phase this out in the next 6 or 12 months.
I'm not dying. Look at me.
So
I'm not dying.
I know, but
That's your problem.
probably. That's where we are.
It's everybody's problem. that
So
I'm
is the agreement, so you're saying that it was 20%, now it's 10%, 10.5%,
10.5.
and then now it's in the next 6 months it must go to end.
So I go down to 10.5 and then I'm gone.
Well, what was the original agreement?
That was the original agreement was, okay, so they came to, we had agreements that they started off at 50%. Just correct me if I'm wrong. 50%. Yeah, okay, no, I've got funny enough, Helen left all this stuff in. There was an agreement 50%, and it was the whole fear that we had, if you remember correctly, the whole fear that we had is if we did this, you'd go to Dunlop and cut me out. Do you remember that thing? I said, how can I do this agreement? And you said, we all said, no, that's it, the honesty, shake hands, you know, it's my area, you pay me, all this kind of stuff. Then, that went well for many years, and luckily it went well for many years because I put these guys grew up and they my expenses in the schools and things, and I paid for them and everything like that. Then you guys came to, when I sold my house up there, I was living in a place down the road and I was building this house. You came from there down to 20%, so you cut me more than 50%. And I said, Chris, what is this agreement about? How can it happen again? Will you ever come back to me if you're bleeding? He said, no, this is it's an evergreen thing. So I took it at that and I focused my life and planned my life on that. So I put my life plan on that strategy that for 6 months after I die, this agreement will still be going, and then when I die, this life insurance policy that I'm paying with the money that I'm earning plus whatever, will hook my wife, and then my wife has got money. Then she can sell this house or she can stay here, but she can live here. And that's what we agreed on. And I said, what happens if we get to another situation where you're bleeding again? He said, no, I've got it handled and everything. So I've got a lot to think about now. I understand where you guys are coming from.
The things that happened, nobody could have foreseen.
I understand that, but you know, when I was back in the day, you know, I also got clapped there. I got clapped. You know, all the things that you got clapped with, I got clapped with as well. And so my peace of mind was that I've got this evergreen thing. And you know, when you have an evergreen, you've always got to have an end date to it. And our date that we decided was when I die, on the 15th of that month or something like that. From that month onward, 6 months, and then clock.
One thing that was also taken into consideration, which we never knocked on your door before, and you can check us, and I'm open and honest,
Yeah.
is when the industry started with a fuel surcharge on fuel.
Yeah.
Remember the first day?
But they've got,
7 years back, whatever it was.
yeah, they got the increase and decrease as the fuel goes.
Yeah, you've also rode with us on that roller coaster when,
Yeah.
when we went up and down. So you also benefited, even though it's a total of 20% of the turnover. When fuel increased by a percentage, you also enjoyed that. Where actually the base rate should have stayed on at the same proportion.
And we don't try to be petty.
No, I hear what you say, and I appreciate it.
Just take note.
Yeah,
Just take note.
okay, I'll take that. I appreciate
So
that.
from the last 7 years, what is industry's percentage that went up?
I'm not sure.
Fuel.
Okay,
probably.
so yeah,
Plenty.
22%.
but I don't see that on my weekly payments because there seems to be a reduction. You know, when my wife and I we guess every week, we sit there, we say guessing games. And if you have a look at the graph of the months from the beginning, it's actually gone less. And I thought, well, the people not buying tires or what's happening?
Well, the northern province had a major decline. You've got auto and truck that comes into the industry
Mhm.
and swamps our business. Look at that. You had Dunlop in the past that's running full containers from Ladysmith into the areas, which we also tabled, and many obstacles.
Yeah, no. But
But
what I'm saying now is that my income has decreased.
But because of a decline of the
No,
market,
but I mean, you're
Yes.
saying I'm increasing on the fuel, but my income has decreased, and I don't know why.
overall, yeah.
It's overall. So if you look at my graph over the years, I thought maybe I was thinking at some time maybe you and I should get together and just strategize on why has it gone down or which areas are not getting their stuff, because I don't get the breakdowns of the areas that you invoicing. I don't get that.
Well, our commitment from our side is you never had to look over your shoulder because you
Exactly.
couldn't trust me from one day.
That's why.
Belinda monitored us
And
from,
she's
from
wonderful.
day one.
She's
So
wonderful.
they we never had a reason to take 1 cent from you.
So the volumes overall declined, but then actually there was a benefit in the fuel surcharge, but you wouldn't see it because we didn't want to.
Okay. So I would have thought, I drove through Petersburg and Lutjegast, whatever they call it now, and Zanina and stuff. There are a lot of people there. There must be.
But it's competition.
Yeah.
All the imports.
Okay. So let's not even go there. I mean, that's like.
But I wanted to mention it to you.
Okay, so I just wanted to. Basically, what I wanted to do is I need you guys to come put it on the table. I've got to go and sit down and discuss it because that guy there, because the whole, I don't know if you remember, and I gave the whole thing, I said, you have an agreement with me and I can give it to my son to run because maybe I start getting him a whatever, or I can not give it to another company or sell it to another company and then they can take over from there. So my idea was to really step out now because I am good and hand it over to my son. All right, he's got another business and things like that, but for him to run, and so he can look after my wife while I'm just doing the invoices and whatever.
At that stage, I wasn't comfortable with that because the agreement was between us,
Between
non-transferable.
no, it was transferable.
It wasn't.
It's in the minutes. Anyway, we won't dispute it.
Yeah.
We agreed that it was with me and it wasn't with anybody else, and it's transferable. I can transfer it at any stage. We did agree that.
Okay, I dispute that.
Okay. So let's go through all of these things. Let's work it out. Give me some time. Let me talk to my family. It's a hell of an adjustment I've got to make.
So what is the alternative? Is there no alternative?
Look, the easy way is actually to say to listen, we can't afford it anymore, it must stop today. But we didn't feel that would be fair. So we're here to say, how far can we still bend backwards to try and make it work to soften the blow? But you must also remember the last round when we tendered for Dunlop now, yeah, they became tough. You had to give your vehicles registration numbers, license discs. So if it made you feel any better, you would not stand a chance because you don't have vehicles. Luckily we had some vehicles.
But at that stage, when we first started off in 2006, I had vehicles. Okay, so I had vehicles. Today I don't have vehicles because we have this agreement. Otherwise, my son would be running there, sitting in the bay.
Yeah.
So it's not like, but that's historical.
I think let's think of a positive way forward. I think we can sit here for hours
Okay.
and compare.
So what do you think of giving me a lump sum of money now? At least I know I've got some money.
I don't want to
No,
You wanted to do that.
okay, so I'm saying, if you guys walk away and take away my money, I'm finished. I'm finished.
That's what we're not trying to do.
No, but this is it. So you know, if I'm completely finished, I'm finished. There's not like half finished. I'm finished.
Mm.
My money that I rely on is your money.
We hear you. So what suggestions have you got?
I don't have many because I only got this email the other day and I sort of like kept it away from my wife for a while so I could. My wife, when I met her, there were 5 generations alive. Her grand is 90, your grand is 92 years old. How old is her? Her grandmother lived to 100 years old. I'm not the last husband, I don't think. I think there's still going to be some wives. I have a commitment to my wife. Not for me. I've got a life policy when I die, I'm dead. But I've got to keep my wife going. I don't want my kids to look after my wife. I've worked very hard. I sat in the cage from 1992 in Weber Street. I sat in the cage in Lysander. I sat in the cage over there. It's not like I just didn't do this. I fought these battles at young
I know your history.
You saw me, yes.
Because I'm there.
Yes, you saw me there. And it's not like I'm just getting money for nothing. I built up a business, and when you guys came to me and said to me, Darcy done, Evergreen. I said I didn't say thank you. I was like, I looked at my situation and I said, I have to go with this thing. Because if I don't go with this thing, then you and I, we're going to be battling each other all the time. There's an interesting thing. You know, when Transco started, I was working with Bix in Pretoria. And I was driving in the morning here in Johannesburg, and then I went to Bix in Pretoria. And a guy was leaning against the wall in that place there. And suddenly he started getting deals. And Bix started giving him the deals. What was Bix's surname?
Grobelaar.
Bix Grobelaar. He got deals, and there was a guy that was running a place, I think he's dead now, he was an alcoholic. And Bix did all the business. And that person was Mach. And they started a thing. Then there was a guy that worked in the Bay at Pretoria. His name was Claude Patent. He came, Mark O'Day suddenly took an area of mine into the Vaal area. And he first got Claude Patent to come in. He caused trouble. You know how they can do it. They don't give you a try. And then they shit and they moan and then head office. So he managed to get Claude Patent in to do the deliveries there. Claude Patent actually had the truck, but Mark O'Day was skimming off it. Mark O'Day then retired when he went to, retired, and he had the Vaal area. And then they took away the Zeerust area from me. They gave him a Mach. Remember? So that's what I'll tell you how. And then they did the same with Ermelo. Gave it a Mach. And at the same time, then Carl gave the Transco the area for that. And Bix, I went down to the local with Carl, and long story short, we won't go back, but I lost that area all through Bix, and I think it was Bix involved, and I'm not sure, but so these things have happened in a scallum way, and I've kept, and you know that, I've kept my nose clean all the way through, because I always tell my kids, scallum is short-lived.
Sure.
You don't do business like it, you keep it clean, you go down. So I went through pressures of guys that were scallum to me in all the years. And I want to tell you, in all of those years, I have not met one person that is as straight as you. And that's true. No matter what happens in our agreement here, there's only one person, and I've said it to you many times, this oak is he's got a moral compass he cannot do. And I want to thank you for that. Because I've not told you once, said to you, are you jipping me with my loads or anything? I've said, that's our agreement, we keep it like that, I'm not going to cause any shit. That's our agreement. And that's, okay, so we plant that. So I built this business up through the years. There's my wife and my grandchild there. You guys take this away from me, I don't know, might have to say.
But under in all fairness, now you're also a business person,
Yeah.
and there was no guarantees that we would retain the business. As you lost it, we might also lose it a few years back or now or tomorrow. So I'm sure you've got a plan B and a C also. And
I've been trying to work out Plan B. I just didn't get it right. Everything I looked this way, that way.
Let me tell you that it was shocking to hear. We were invited down to Durban to just be present of a seminar where the CEO spoke to all the service providers. I've met people I've
Who's
never.
the CEO now?
It's a
Still the
German,
Indian
German guy, Lubin.
Germans in charge now. What's happened to the Indians?
He left the company. He and Darren Cole Dowling also left the company. They've got a new German CEO.
Really? But it belongs to the Indians.
Yes. No, it's Japanese, eh? Japanese.
Japanese, but the Indians were running at one stage. We
Not-
moved.
Yes, but not anymore. It's got a German neutral guy in.
Okay.
Who's cutting the whole house, cleaning house as far
Okay.
as he goes.
Okay, that's good because Germans
So-
are straight.
So when the tender, I'll be open and honest, when the tender happened, we just got a document and said, listen, this is going on open tender. So then we had our first site meeting. Then I've met people I've never seen in my whole life. All the big role. There were 2 boardrooms full of 40 participants that actually came in on Zoom, in, out, in,
Yeah.
out.
So this is like in Zoom days, eh?
Yeah, so I always thought to myself, maybe, you're looking over your shoulder, who initiated this? I wanted to know. But they warned us 2 years back that we need to get our BE statuses and stuff up to date. So I thought to myself, something might happen. I don't know. I don't have much connection to head office. I don't deal with head office. And the first time in my life, I'm actually speaking to procurement and a whole team of people. And it's red tape everywhere. Okay. So now we are invited to a site meeting. You are invited to your own site for a meeting.
In your bay. Your bay.
You
Your
walk,
office.
you walk with 40 guys everywhere.
the whole warehouse.
The whole warehouse, up and down.
It's
systems.
corporate for you, eh?
So I've consulted with Damien and said, what's going on here?
Is he still there?
He's still there?
Is he the boss?
Not anymore.
Because he was a veneer when I was there.
No, he's not a boss. He's got a boss on top of him now.
Who was the big oak in charge there?
After Alan Please was Damien.
Yeah, but that was in the bay. Who's the branch manager?
It's now Damien, just for Jet Park alone.
Yeah.
Not for National.
So Damien's there, right at the top of that.
Yeah, but he reports directly to a guy called Ash and then group director. The middle positions are out now.
Michael Hans?
I don't know where he is.
God.
I don't know. I haven't seen him. But anyway, yeah, we never had really interaction with Michael Hines. It's just agreed quickly like that, but I've never spoken to him. It's really a conversation. The sales department. Okay, so we invited to a site meeting, and my nerves are shot because what the hell's going on here?
But you tended for all provinces or nothing? It was
Open.
completely open.
Open tender, open for the
The
whole
whole country.
the whole branch. So at first I was hesitant, and Isaac said, recommended let's maybe do Gauteng and we do Northwest and maybe a part of Bloem if we can. So if we get something, we'll get something else, or lose maybe Mpumalanga. But we were already prepared to close down 50% of our business. We were ready with Plan B because if it went south, because things were not looking great.
Because what's the chance of, there's so many international or national companies.
Yeah.
What's
And
the
Food
chance?
Express
Yeah.
is there, RTT is there, all the national guys are there. You're looking at me in the face. Imperial is there, so we knew there's a snake in the grass somewhere. So there was an item list of 28 items you had to do presentations on. They kept me busy for 9 months. These oaks.
Combined, yeah.
Yes, and meetings, and meetings, and meetings. Now you need to run a business.
Plus
Keep-
do
keep-
the analysis and
focus.
everything.
and they want continuous
Just
ideas.
paperwork.
Yes. But anyway, we were very fortunate in the fact that we were actually on a short list of 5 competitors.
Do you know who they were?
No, I was never made aware who they were.
They're quite professional and close.
Yeah.
But very to the book. So we couldn't get any information with Inroads just to give us an idea. Because we wanted to know what it's all about. But it was handled from procurement, cold and clean from procurement directly in Durban, and Jet Park's guys were never involved to say yes or no in any aspect. How do you like that?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Very.
But I'll give you a bit of history before we get to the ending. So we were notified the 23rd of December that we get a letter of appointment from these guys, and they wanted to push our payment terms to 30 days after statement. So I said to them, we are the selected party, but if we have to go there, we cannot do it because I cannot carry that amount of turnover a month.
Yeah.
So it might, and the saddening thing for me, just to give a bit of background, is they never gave us a tailor-made contract. They gave us a
general one. Or did you have to make the contract?
I'll tell you now. We changed a few technical points because we are open and exposed. Things like if you were a container transporter from Ladysmith outbound,
Yeah.
you gave me that contract if you read it. And you will also read it and see it's not tailor-made to Jet Park operation. They never thought about the tailor-made thing for the operation.
Obviously, they didn't know what the business really did. They were
Exactly.
at the top there, they didn't see the nitty-gritty at the bottom.
Simple things like we were non-exclusive transporters. They can get a quote from any party within 30 days and give you terms and cut you off. And so we said no.
Yeah.
We cannot. We nipped and tucked it. And then we pushed for a 3-year term, at least a 3-year term, because there's a lot of capital outlay that will go into it. So we had to change 9 critical points through legal, and we pushed them all through to be a preferred vendor. So they cannot jump over our heads or ask competitors. They're schnarring us, so we can't allow it because we are exposed. So where we're sitting here, we've got a signed contract that is a legitimate contract for the next 36 months. Our payment terms are 7 days after statement because we kept it like that after we came to almost a breaking point.
Yeah.
Almost a breaking point.
But the counter side of that is we had to sacrifice a lot of our prices to get in line with all of it, which sort of contributes to why we're here.
So
just to give you a bit of
Okay.
background, sorry to interrupt you. Before this tender happened, you won't believe what happened. They gave us news that there's fraudulent tires being taken out of the bay, stuff like that,
your bay.
and everybody's investigated. No.
Out of the warehouse.
Johan Loots, us, Bigfoot Express, the whole works.
This is interesting.
So now I'm thinking to myself, what's going on?
Ooh.
We run a tight ship. We
Yeah.
run a tight ship.
Yeah. And the other guys don't.
I can't speak for Johan Loots.
Okay. But he was there then.
Yes. But
I'm sorry I'm laughing. I should never
we
laugh
were-
at unfortunate situation, but you know what? That's only comes from my heart, that laugh, because yesterday he gave us a hard time. Yeah.
Well, just for the record, the closest I ever came to Johan Loots was greeting in the far distance, and that's the closest I've trusted him from day one.
From the beginning, I remember you saying that.
Okay, and it's still like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he will snare your business without flinching.
But that's what he did to me.
Okay, let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
So the funny thing that happened is we got notified. The whole Joburg branch is under investigation for fraud, whatever. But they're not pointing finger. The thing that embarrassed me as much is that they wanted to put us through polygraphs, not a lot of us. So I draw the line. I said no.
Yeah.
You think that of me, so where's the trust in the business?
Mm.
But all the managers that's on site, all the senior guys, always was embarrassed going through polygraphs.
They did.
They did it. Everyone passed.
They passed.
All of them.
Also lost the amount that they're looking for.
So I'll tell them now. So the problem is that they lost 15,000 units. It's gone out of the warehouse.
Money was?
A lot of millions.
I think it was 50 million.
Like
60
50 million.
You
Okay.
stole us.
But you put us through this now, and then you hit us with a tender right after. So I don't know, I can't speak for Johan Loots, I don't know what happened on that side. I can't tell you, okay, because I don't have the info. But now you traumatize us in business, putting us through this and risk. So there must be a snake in the grass somewhere. Luckily we run a tight ship. We don't have skeletons in our closet. But still, you want our commitment and loyal trust. I still believe in that business principles, but look what you're doing to us now.
Mm.
Cold and clean, like it's like a breeze of air. Anyway, we passed. So I said to them, you know what, you're looking in the wrong place. I say, who was in charge of your stock keeping for the past 20 years? And who balanced that out?
That's correct.
And they overruled those guys. So yeah, I think they got a direction there. Because coming to stock take, you want to impress your boss, stuff like that. They say irregularities, stuff like that. So I think, start looking there, because you've got a professional SAP system. I can prove for every POD that I've transported, and I can.
We had to. I mean, if you didn't produce a PID, it was over.
So,
You paid for it.
so luckily my guys' nose were clean. All of them. Thank
And they
God.
moved between warehouses as well. So that's ideal time to steal stuff.
Yeah.
So they got SA Tire involved to keep 3,000 squares full of tires in Johannesburg. But the mistake which they made was they
Who got them to keep those tires?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
You do know. I can see it in your face, you know.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't.
You stole the tires. Did you steal the tire?
Andre, I stole the tires.
Look, it's him. He's going red. Check. I'm a detective. I can see you're lying. You stole 3,000. No, seriously.
No, I'm getting ready.
3,000 tires going.
I'm getting ready in my face
You're
because
getting cross.
I'm getting cross for what they put us through. Anyway, so we got SA Tire. They filled up the Bill warehouse in Wingfield Park with stock. Great, because they're pushing stock to Johannesburg. Now we're picking out of Jet Park, and half of the orders are coming through here. I went to that warehouse on 6 occasions to help these folks for duplicate orders that comes out. You can't believe it, and I pointed it out. So I left the site. So the investigator came to visit me, and I've put these points on the table. So the big blame was SA Tire. Okay, that's what they say it is. They wanted the scapegoat, but Transco wasn't the one who needs to be blamed, whatever it was. So we went through that. A month after that, they hit us with a tender.
And why do you think they hit you with a tender? Because they want to get rid of Mark.
Maybe.
That's why they hit you with a tender.
Yeah.
Because they knew they could see it was, and the only way to do it was just clean out.
Yeah.
And that's why Mark's got, you didn't know it, but Mark was, and that's exactly what happened to us all through the years. Because of the Skabens things that did, we lost all the way down the line.
Your view might be that they wanted to push Mach out, maybe, okay? But if you were physically in the tender process, you'll see that you were a racing horse in this. They put us through the paces, let me tell you.
Okay.
It wasn't fun and games. It wasn't fun and games. So even though we are grateful to retain the business, I don't feel the happiness with this business because the pressure is even more immense currently. They want reports. There are massive penalty systems. If you don't perform higher than 99.5% of the outcome, they hit you with an 8% penalty of your turnover. You know, there are penalties now in place, like big penalties. And if these penalties are not adhered to and you don't perform, so they want the show jumping horse jump through the hoops without knocking one pillar off. That's how serious it is.
Without even feeding it.
And they can cancel it. After I think 3
Look,
strikes.
So
this is hectic stuff.
I think at this stage we are in a positive space. They put us through the hoops, but thank God, you know, Transco's footprint was strong enough to retain it. So I won't say we're safe. We're never safe.
We've never been safe.
And they've made that clear to us that we will never be safe.
Yes, I understand.
You know that the corporate
Yeah,
world.
they like keeping you on your toes so they can.
No, every week.
Yeah.
So we have a.
Meetings.
Isak is laughing now about it, but I sit every Monday morning at
How do
9
you
o'clock.
think you usually go on holiday? Isak should go to those meetings because they're the worst things I ever did in my life. Hey, Isak? You've been there. You've been to those meetings.
No, I came to a point where I realized I will never please Damien. I will never please him. And it doesn't matter how good I am.
Damien never smiled when I was there. I thought it was me, but I think it's just genuinely Damien. Is that right? Because he obviously not an easy man to please.
Well, my nose is clean. I do my business honestly. My service levels are perfect, and I run a tight ship. It's not easy, but we choose to do the profession and what we do it, and we are here to add service to the industry, and we're proud in our business name as well. And our name runs ahead as we go in positive light. And that's we sleep very little at night because we're busy with business, but not because we have to look over our shoulders.
Yeah.
Because that.
Chris, I tell you what. If Transco, not because I'm involved, but if Transco ever had to leave Dunlop, I can guarantee you now Dunlop's going to be in shit. Because
But you never know.
yeah, that's always a risk. You know, somebody else doesn't see your value until you've gone. And you guys have been running a tight ship. I mean, I ran my stuff there and I got the stuff delivered, but you know, I was there on the ground. But things have been becoming more sophisticated since then. And you kept up with that sophistication, and your things are right, your business is right, your trucks are right, and you're straight. And that's the most important thing. You carry on like that, it will be going on forever. They will never get rid of you. Mach, when did they get rid of Mach? How many months ago?
2 months.
1st of April.
They're going to see a huge increase because Mach used to take my loads and do expensive. Even remember we had that Challenger thing. We used to take our Challenger and go and deliver our Challenger. All of that stuff. And so much more of a prices because it was like the emergency tender. Remember those things? I think Mach was a big problem. You'll see things will smoothen out from that.
Yeah.
It will.
So in essence, I know it must be a shock.
It's a hell of a shock for me.
And you under pressure. But
Oh.
on our side, we've got our own problems. So don't think we're smiling and
Okay, so I think what we should do. Let's go, let me sit and work it out. Even if I have to come down to you in Nelspruit and sit and talk to you in Nelspruit, we'll work it out as honestly as possible. I've got a life to live and I've got responsibilities and I've got to fight for my family. That's my family. If I don't fight for them, I might as well just die and get the money. I need that money. Okay, you need that money. We've got to work out something, how we can carry on. Something along the way. And we've been dealing honestly, positively for many, many years. And I thank you for that. And, I haven't had much to do with you. The only time I see him is when I'm in shit.
unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so let's take it there. Give me some time. I need to sit and discuss it with my family, go through it. We find out exactly where we stand with each other, with our agreements and things. We put them together and say, this is what we have planned, this is what we promised, this is what we're producing now. How is it that we can maybe move forward? What is the story?
Yeah.
Let's work that out. And then we go to the next.
In the meantime, the 10.5% is continuing. I know you need to live, so we're good for that.
So, what do you mean the 10.5%?
The 10.5%.
No, the 20%. You can't just drop me overnight. It's like, it's like you can't drop me like within a week.
No, remember I sent you that
I've got the dates 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks
started-
ago you said, I'm gone.
We started with this 1 April. We already buffered it until now. Your whole crunch was only now 1 April. No, 1 May. Yeah.
No, I tell you what, I'm not making any decisions now. Let me just, it's like my brain is boiling. Give me time.
No pressure.
Okay. Please, I can't make any, I'm not negotiating now, I'm hearing you out now. And that's,
I understand that.
okay.
I don't expect anything.
And let's take it from there because, I can't just give my life away because I can't. I've got to give it some thought. I needed you guys to talk to me and I need to sit down and think about it. And it's not like, I know you guys are honest guys. I have to work with what my life says to me now. I've got my life there. And it's like I got this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was going to a farm and I checked this. I said, what's that? I said, I've just got this. And that was not this weekend, it was the weekend before. It said, you need to meet me because you're dropping me. And that's like 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago.
And you can't drop one. Let me go and sit and think, come back to you, please.
I understand. No, understand.
You understand? And it's like, how are you otherwise? I mean, you're a quantity surveyor.
Yes, so
what are you doing with fires?
trying to keep everybody alive that works for us.
And you've got lots of buildings going.
No, we do projects all over. But again, the building industry is even more severely affected because once the economy gets tough, people stop building and new developments. So only about a month or 2 ago, I saw it going up again. For the last 3-4 years, it was just declining. They also had a lot of government business, and they don't have money anymore.
So didn't you have some problem with the vice president and that? Weren't you involved in because that game farming bypass wasn't that?
Many years back, that's 10 years back.
I just remember, the reason why I remember it because it kept on popping up that there's this guy David Mabuza that was dealing with something, and I saw something on carte blanche.
Yeah.
And I said, you're not involved with that thing. Thank goodness.
Select somebody from Blood Plus. But I know Mabuza, I've met him when we've done some project management work.
Yeah.
But last thing is I haven't spoken to him, and I think I want to keep it that way.
I think just from my side, I think it's very important before we leave today in closing is that we keep our mutual respect for each other. We didn't come to fight, and thank you for inviting us into your house. We really appreciate it. But I think it's very, very important that we come to a positive outcome of this. And we didn't come to fight or show cheat or to show that we're stronger or weaker.
All around the way,
We came
find a solution.
We came out of a sensitive light and with mutual respect for you.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And what we will do is we'll go and have a look at what our agreement was. We must agree what our agreement was and how we move forward from that agreement. That's all we've got to do. I mean, it's as simple as that. Where are we going? What did we say? Where are we going? How can we maybe see how we can accommodate that? thing, because I've got a life that I've got to live. It's a very difficult thing at my age to start a new life and start dancing up.
Things has changed that nobody's got control.
If you can maybe look at it, digest it now, it's a big shock for you and a big shock for Ron as well. So, or Ron as well, sorry, Ron. So what I'm saying is, let's make the next 2 weeks contact, we speak to each other.
Chris, let me take this, let me analyze it. I'll be in constant contact with you.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you, and we take it from there. And whatever we can, let's see if we can come up with a positive solution, like you said.
Yeah.
And we're dealing like we're dealing for the last 16 years, straight on.
I'm here about every 2 weeks, so we can set up a follow-up.
So what you're trying to do is tell me I can't come and visit you in Nelspruit. You know, I like it when you go to Nelspruit.
Well, let me tell you, Isak is so dedicated to doing business in Joburg. He was here yesterday with his appointed surveyors to check projects. So he drove as far, he came to visit me. He went to Rustenburg, drove back to Nelspruit. This morning he drove back, so he's back from Nelspruit.
I told Rowan it's actually quite a privilege that Isak. I said to my wife, it's actually a privilege that Isak is going. You too, but Isak, I've met him three times in my life. Once when he was at my house at the top there. Another time I think was when we didn't even meet him in the next agreement, because that's when you and I were doing the deal.
At the coffee shop at one time?
And at a coffee shop. So I met this guy through the years, and I know this guy's a busy man. He doesn't just do transport. He does a lot of
This
stuff.
is important to me, that we
It's like,
agreement.
let's see what we can do. You know, I'll let you help us base, and then I'll go away.
No.
Okay, it's like doing business with you guys. Yeah?
Just one or two questions.